welcome back to another video. Today we are flying with Cebu Pacific once again. This time we'll be flying from Manila in the A320 back on the Phoenix again, and on this rather fantastic livery, let's fly every one, which there's about 4 or 5 aircraft in this current livery, and they're only just temporary leases until A320 Neos become delivered. Anyway, we are here at Manila's Ninoy Aquino International Airport at Terminal 3 and at the remote stands from, I think it's gate number 12 or stand number 122, I think it is. Well, no, we're on 122. Starts from 121, and this is where the narrow body domestic flights depart from. Now, I've just said it, narrow body domestic flight, and yes, we are flying domestic. Today we'll be flying just to Caticlan or Boracay Airport. So if you've ever been to the Philippines and went to Boracay, this is the flight that you'll be taking. And as you can see from the AirAsia is going to runway 13. We will be departing also from runway 13. That means we'll have a straight out departure to the south over Laguna de Bay, and then we'll be flying slightly to the west over Tagaytay, and we hope we get a nice view of Taal. Hopefully it's a nice volcano from the sky, which I do actually have a picture of. And yeah, so that will be our flight plan down to Caticlan. I just wanted to show you the airport at Cloud Surf. Terminal 3 is over here, and perhaps while I was here I might have been scammed by Cebu Pacific themselves on baggage. It's nice to see a scoot on this side. Now, most of these gates now are being used by international flights, so seeing Vietnam Airlines here is pretty realistic actually. Philippine Airlines 321, not so, because they go from Terminal 2 for domestic and Terminal 1 for internationals. Anyway, so I was just recently here in Manila just a few weeks ago. You can see the new port development across the way there. And while we were checking in at Terminal 3 here for our flight to Bacolod, my wife is from Bacolod, so that's why we went to Bacolod. My mum is from Cebu, but this time we were going to Bacolod from Manila. We were at the Cebu Pacific counter, somewhere around this area. This is relatively realistic but basic. Anyway, we were checking in over here. We dropped in our baggage. Now, when we weighed our baggage in London, it was about 21 kilos. When we weighed it in here, it ended up 24 kilos. 3 kilo discrepancy seems a lot. And I've tried to complain to Cebu Pacific, nobody is answering. Anyway, we'll go back to the aircraft now at stand 121. I'll just press this one, that'll bring us there quick. Oh, all my GSX assets have just disappeared, apart from the tug. And then we'll jump into the cockpit. Actually, we'll go to there. We'll jump into the cockpit and we'll start the APU and get our clearance for our departure. So we'll start the APU. We'll check in onto the ATIS as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on board our flight. Please place your large bags into overhead lockers, wheels first, and keep your small items under the seat in front of you. These include laptops, handbags, duty-free and loose items of clothing. If you are seated in an emergency exit row or a front row bulk seat, all of your items must be placed into an overhead locker. Once you have safely stored your cabin bags, please take your seat. To help us ensure an on-time departure, we kindly ask that you keep the aisle clear, enabling all remaining customers to board. Your seatbelt can now be fastened ready.
So we'll just check into clearance. We'll get our clearance.
Delivery Cebu 905 IFR to Romeo Papa Victor Echo, ready to copy.
Cebu 905 is cleared to Romeo Papa Victor Echo Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 13 climb and maintain 10,000 feet. Departure frequency is 128.3 squawk 3243.
3243. All
Cebu
right.
905 cleared to Romeo Papa Victor Echo Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 13 climb and maintain 10,000 feet. Departure on 128.3 squawk 3243.
Cebu 905, read that correct. Contact ground.
So perfect. 128.8 for our taxi. Cool. Anyway, so we're here on the remote stands. This is very common. Actually, it is pretty much the standard operating procedure now for Cebu Pacific on the narrow body. So the A320 and A321. Now, I was lucky enough to go 2 flights on the 321neo and 2 flights on the 320neo. Not on the CEO, but I did fly to Caticlan, so I can make pretty good judgment on how it went down on our flight over there. Anyway, we're just going to check our flight plan on here. I did program everything. Yeah, so, and if I open up this in brief map, I'll show you actually what our flight is going to look like. So if I go zoom in here, so we are taking off runway 13. That means we are taking off due south over to Clare, which is over here, Laguna de Bay, making a right turn to the west, and then we'll be flying just to the side of Taal Lake on the left side, which means passengers on the left side can enjoy a view of Tagaytay and the volcano at Taal. Now, if I can check what are the winds aloft here, the clouds en route. That's the winds, clouds. There's no big issues there of CBs, and yeah, no real issues. We might get a good view then of the volcano from the left side of the aircraft, and then heading due south over to Batangas. Top of climb is just there, and then we'll be joining our arrival on Tapa to Poppy and straight in. And Boracay is this island here where you have to take a ferry. Anyway, I'll talk about some operational things that they do in Caticlan once we arrive on the other side. We should be close to completing our boarding. I'll just double check GSX. Where are we at? 153 of 177. We've got a pretty full flight today, and as I observed from my flights to and from Caticlan, I think flights to and from Caticlan to Manila are very, very full, especially at the airport. It's quite a small airport, and you know, it gets very congested passenger wise. Something I don't really do when I do this is actually clear these company messages until we're in flight. So let's just do that right now. Got 3 load sheets here, and just accept. It's more accept that we've read them, and then we'll get the final load sheet once all the passengers and cargo are boarded. Now, I haven't set up any shortcuts for view, but I did find that on the Phoenix we have a good view of the passenger cabin here. As you can see, passengers are very well loaded, and this is the older cabin. Now, I don't know if the aircraft in this livery of Cebu Pacific actually use this cabin, but this is very realistic to the older cabins with these Ricario seats, with this little advertisement board here. I mean, even these boards are real. I've even got some of those sick bags here in my house. And on the older A321neos as well, which one of our flight back to Manila was actually on an older 321neo. It had these older style overhead bins, which you can really tell the difference between the newer style, more spacious bins and the older style bins, that there isn't really enough space for how most people travel these days. And these seats are thicker as well compared to the newer style seats on the Neo aircraft. Like I say, the older Neo 320 Neos actually still have these seats, these advertisement boards as well. Anyway, we're going to move back into the cockpit, and then we'll go we'll go back into the cockpit. We'll put our APU bleed on. We'll disconnect the ground power, and then we'll request for pushback from GSX. Prepare for departure. All doors are closed. Just wait for them to arm as well. When you see the word slide on the display, it means that the doors have been armed. As you can see, the overwing exits, of course, they'll always be armed, but the doors over, the passenger doors on the left side and the right side, will be armed by the crew once we start pushback. Let's get the beacon light on as well. No, we won't interrupt. Why does the prompt keep coming up? No, it's a 777 going to line up for runway 13, which is very unusual. Why is the tug not moving? We'll just wait for a moment. I think GSX is having a bit of an issue here. Let's not interrupt. There we go. Now you're moving the tug. We'll close the cockpit door as well. You can see all our passengers are on board. 177 passengers. We'll switch over to our ground frequency, which will be today 128.8. And we'll just wait for our handlers to sort us out. Strange on the ATIS as well that they are asking for all departures on runway 13, which would be very unusual to see wide bodies. Actually, you'd never see wide bodies like this KLM or even that 777 from Philippine Airlines taking off from this runway. Anyway, we're gonna push back to the right side. Let's disconnect. Let's pull off the parking brake. Now, one thing I also noticed from the SOPs, or the standard operating procedures of Cebu Pacific, is that they do a lot of single engine taxi. However, our flight today, or our taxi today, will be short. So I'm going to go for a 2 and then 1, engine 2 and then engine 1 start today. It's nice to see the wing walkers are out. Let's try to get a view of the engine 2. In fact, what I might do...
Cabin crew member closest to you, as we are about to demonstrate the safety features
Ground
of
Cebu
Airbus.
Air 559er requesting pushback.
Thank you.
Cebu Air 559er pushback request accepted.
Ladies and gentlemen, bus A320. Please pay attention to illuminated signs and crew instructions, including the following safety procedures. The safety card found in your seat pocket contains important information about exit routes, oxygen masks, life jackets, and the brace position, which you must adopt if you hear brace, brace.
We'll start engine 1.
There are 8 emergency exits on this aircraft. The cabin crew are now pointing out the exits nearest to you. Please be aware that your nearest usable exit may be behind you. Emergency lighting will guide you to an exit. In an emergency, leave all baggage on board. Your seatbelt is fastened, adjusted, and released as shown. It must be fastened whenever the seatbelt signs are on, and we recommend that you keep it fastened at all times. If the air supply fails, masks will drop from above you. Pull a mask towards you. Put the mask and breathe normally.
Oh, sorry.
Hold
Let's
the
get back
mask
to the
in place
cockpit.
with the strap. Pull on each
Parking brake
side to
on.
adjust. Put on your own
Then
mask.
we'll let GSX know that we've got a good start.
Land on water,
requesting the end of
take a
pushback.
life jacket from under your seat.
Cebu Air 559er request to end pushback received.
Pass the tapes around your waist and click together. Pull the strap to adjust. Do not
Both engines have started nicely.
life
Wing
jacket
walkers
inside the aircraft.
are still there.
Ground Cebu Air 559er with Delta ready to taxi IFR.
If it fails to inflate,
Cebu Air 559er taxi to and hold short of runway 13 via taxiway Golf 1 Charlie 2 November, 7 November, 6 November, 4 November, 3 November, 2 November, 1 Hotel 5.
your tray
Contact
table
Oh, we
tower
forgot to
on
put the
11
weights in,
Delta
didn't I?
when ready.
window blinds
Send
open and seatbelt fastened. Further information
performance.
regarding your safety on board can be found in the
We
in-flight
forgot to do the
magazine.
weights for our takeoff, but that's okay. We'll sort it out.
Via taxiway Golf 1 Charlie, 2
Calculate.
November, 7 November, 6 November, 4 November, 3 November, 2 November,
And
1
then
Hotel 5
send.
Cebu Air 559er.
There we go. Right. Let's request our clearance for taxi as well
Ground
while
Cebu
we're here.
905 with Delta ready to taxi IFR.
APU can go off.
905 taxi to and hold short of runway 13 via taxiway
Flight controls
November,
check.
1 Hotel 5.
Full left.
Tower on 119er
Full
decimal
right.
3 when ready.
Neutral.
Taxiing hold short
Full
runway
up.
13 using taxiway
Full
November 1
down.
Hotel 5 Cebu 905.
Neutral. Rudder left. rudder right, neutral, flaps to 1. The trim can go down 0.5. No, that's up. Let's go down 0.5. Flaps to 1, arm the spoilers, and let's proceed for taxi. Got a short taxi today, just straight and to the left. Easy enough. We'll turn the predictive wind shear on. The winds are a bit high there, so let's put predictive wind shear on. That gets rid of that message. Company message. We'll double check the last message, which is just a load sheet message. Final load sheet, we've got 177 passengers plus 1. Yeah, plus 1. That's cool. Final load sheet, return, max, test, normal. So ecam memo, no blue. The weights are in pounds again. Let's just switch that over because it should be in kilos. Sim settings, units, weights in kilos. Perfect. My flight. Right, let's switch over to the tower. Now, what I'm going to do actually is just switch over the camera to the other side because it will be a better view for takeoff, especially with the city. To our left side. And this is our turning, so let's use the brakes. It's a bit firm on the brakes, that was. We'll get the TCAS on actually right now. Save us a bit of time for once we get to the hold point. Nice sharp turn, which is easy in the 320. Now the elevation of this water is not quite real as it is on here. In real life it's sort of embedded into the ground, more like a lake. Anyway, so we're just approaching the hold short point. A request for our go back to clearance, ground, tower, free.
Manila Tower Cebu 905 ready for departure runway 13 IFR to Romeo Papa Victor Echo.
So all lights are on.
Cleared for takeoff runway 13.
Very good, clear for takeoff.
Cleared for takeoff runway 13 Cebu 905.
And then you can see here on the right side is the former domestic terminal, or Terminal 4. Formerly Terminal 4, because it's no longer in use as the airlines who use it are now using Terminal 2, like AirAsia. Cebu Pacific hasn't been there since Terminal 3 opened, and Royal Air Philippines and other charter airlines. Anyway, let's set the chrono on. We'll ramp up the engines to 50%. N1. Brakes off. Oh, where's the flex? Man, flex, 53, SRS, no runway, but nav blue, so that's good. Airspeed's alive. 100 knots. V1, rotate. Oh, there we go. That's a bit too steep of a climb. Gears coming up now. You can see the city of Manila just to the left side of the aircraft.
Cebu
and the maintenance facilities.
Going to 128 decimal tree Cebu 905.
You can see the rest of the airport on the left, on the right side. Autopilot's coming on now. Oops. Switch over to tower.
Manila
Contact
Center
tower.
Cebu 905 is at 1,500 feet, climbing 10,000 feet.
Climb thrust is on.
905 Manila Center QNH 29.85 radar contact. Continue.
There we go, easy does it. Turn off the wheel lights as well.
127.7 Air Bosna 745 heavy. Goodbye. Cool red 605 climb and maintain.
We'll leave the
flight level
seatbelt sign on for a
190.
while. Just coming over the Laguna de Bay as well now. I'm going to start a right turn just in a moment as well. Flaps will be retracted also.
Cool red 605.
Flaps can go up now.
KLM 808 heavy climb and maintain flight level 300. Boeing 632 climb and maintain flight level 200.
Flaps
Climb and maintain
up.
flight level 300 KLM 808 heavy.
Approaching green dot speed now. The left turn is in play.
Climb and maintain flight level 200 Boeing 632.
And you can see the fishing pens of Laguna de Bay as well, which is realistic. There's plenty of those in the bay.
Philippine 535 climb and maintain flight level 180. Manila Center Cebu Air 559er.
And there's Manila, there's the airport there. You can see 06 there. And 24. You've got runway 13 there where we just departed. The city is here, the main Manila city. And it's just amazing to see the sprawl, the urban sprawl of Metro Manila. It's massive. And it's not one of my favorite places to go in the world, if I'm honest. But often, well, I'll try to go through Manila to make the costs a bit cheaper as well. Sometimes flying to Cebu is just a bit pricey. Flying through some thick clouds now. That's why I wanted to keep the seatbelt sign on a bit longer, which is actually very common. It happens quite frequently. We've got not much of a view. We're holding 250 knots.
Cebu 905 climb and maintain flight level 220. Keep speed not above 220 knots. Cool red 605 climb and maintain flight level 270.
We'll do open climb.
Climb and maintain flight level 180. Keep speed not above 230 knots. Cebu Air 658.
We're hitting some pretty rough air now as we
Climb and maintain
come
flight
out
level
of the Metro
220,
Manila area.
Not above 220 knots. Cebu 905.
Climb and maintain flight level 270.
Now, they don't want me to exceed 220 knots, but I don't see why we can't keep up on the 250 speed. Now we're above 10,000 feet. Can get those landing lights off. Speed is increasing. Still in the rough air, so we'll leave the seatbelt signs on again. This actually happened to us when we flew to Caticlan. On the departure, there was the seatbelt sign on stayed on for quite a while, so the cabin crew were unable to complete their duties. I mean, they had a very short time. It's a very short flight, you know. We'll probably be on the ground in about 45 minutes. We'll set barriers to standard. Try to get above through this area. Hopefully it should be
Speed not above 260
a bit
knots,
nicer,
81.
and we can turn the seatbelt sign off. I think we can actually turn it off right about now. There's Lake Taal just ahead of us, and the volcano is that one there, and I'm sure I'll put up a picture what I took from the wing view of a Cebu Pacific A321. Let's get the seatbelt sign off now. No, we're still hitting the rough air. Well, what I'll do is I'll call the flight attendants and just tell them that they can do their duties, but we'll leave the seatbelt sign on. And I think we're pretty much out of the bad weather. Let's get that seatbelt sign off. And then I'm gonna see if we can actually see Taal from this view. Perhaps I can try the further back. Let's go to this view here. So we're just about to come over Taal around about now. Let me see if there's a nice view from the sky. I've been here as well. It's quite an interesting place to go when you think this whole lake is a volcano, and at the same time there's a volcano in the middle of the lake, which we're just coming to here. There's the crater, and we just come, and this is an island. This island is within a crater, so this is a volcano. The whole lake of Taal is a volcano. This is Taal, the volcano itself, and the main crater, which in real life you do get to fly very close. And I'll put up a picture of what I took from an A321 coming in the opposite direction, going towards Manila. And yeah, I'm glad I got to show the view of Taal from the flight. I'm going to leave you in peace now, perhaps a little bit of background music to enjoy the rest of the flight. Always love flying in the Philippines, and I love to bring what I've experienced into the flight simulator as well. So enjoy the rest of the flight, and I'll join you just before our top of descent. Hello and welcome back. This is your captain speaking. We'll be starting our descent in a few minutes time. It's going to be an interesting flight down, but yes, we will be starting our descent in a few minutes time. So cabin crew, please prepare the cabin for landing. Anyway, as I've mentioned, we will be starting our descent soon. We are actually approaching our top of descent according to our navigational display here, our ND. But we still haven't received our ATC clearance for descent, and I'm expecting it any moment now as well, because we need to get down to Tapa by 8,000 feet, Poppy by 3,300 feet, and then we join in on the RNAV at about 2,300 feet. So hopefully we get our clearance to start descending any moment now. Otherwise it's going to be a bit of a handful to get the aircraft down. So hopefully ATC gives us some clearances in a moment. Now I won't be able to do landing calculations, but I've done this flight a few times, so I know that I could probably, with the weight that we're at, gross weight of 66.7 tons, this should be able to stop even on a low auto brake. There's our descent clearance now. Perfect.
Descend and maintain 13,000
actually we'll do open descent, because that will give us the maximum descent rate. Well, actually it's still following the LNAV. Why is the... There we go. Start descending. Perfect. See the vertical speed is coming down now. It's pretty much just C all the way down. Nothing more for me to do other than to prepare for our landing. We are on the Tapa 7 Alpha arrival, which is a little bit shorter than the Tapa 7 Bravo, which sometimes they try to get. Actually, when you do a sim brief, it generally tries to give you 7 Bravo, but I think 7 Alpha is a little bit more direct, and it makes, to be honest with you, a lot more sense in my opinion. I'll do open descent. How low can you go? There we go, holding speed quite nicely. And we're approximately, what's that, about 50 odd miles away from Caticlan, on Boracay Airport. We'll see Boracay actually on the left side of the aircraft. So great for passengers who want to have a quick look at the island that they will be traveling to, especially tourists. You'll get a great view on the left side, especially during most days. It's pretty clear, so it's easy to see the island of Boracay. And you can even see the Calibo VOR is coming into view on our navigational display at what, 80 nautical miles away. So we need to be at Tapa at 8,000. Oh, did I say 8,000? Let me just check the chart again. 8,000, but we are definitely going to be well above that. So we might have to go speed brakes out and let the aircraft descend a bit steeper. And the speed brakes, as you can see, are coming out. And we'll get the seatbelt sign on now as well. Nothing to see out the window. Plenty of sea though around. Just bring the navigational display in a bit further now. 40 miles in.
Training must
You can actually see the island of Boracay just over there. Then we'll be going round about there, to the right, across, and then to the left, and in to Caticlan. Now bringing us down early actually is going to give you a better chance to configure for speed as well, which is also a good thing to do. Always, as you've probably heard me mention on videos before, stay ahead of the aircraft. It's always good to stay ahead of the aircraft instead of being, you know, behind, flying too high, etc., etc. So in fact we can pull off the speed brakes now. Again, you can watch that happen. Speed brakes are coming in. We're holding at 13,000 feet, approaching Tapa. And to be honest with you, looking at our profile on here, we should be able to get in quite alright actually, with the profile that it has. So perhaps after Tapa we'll just follow the VNAV profile once we get our ATC clearances. There is an aircraft in front of us actually. It's flying below us at the moment. Just keep an eye on it. I can see the lights flashing. It's not coming up on TCAS, so it's probably not really a major threat at the moment. Okay, let's start descending down to 8. The aircraft is just coming below us now.
Descend and maintain 8,000 feet, Cebu 905.
Cebu 905, you are 29 miles north. Descend and maintain 3,800 feet. Expect on a runway 6 approach via Popi transition. Clear to Popi.
Perfect.
Red 716 traffic is 7 o'clock, 2 miles at 13,100 feet Airbus.
Oh, there you go. It's an AirAsia.
Descend and maintain 3,800 feet. Expect RNAV runway 6 approach via Popi transition.
It must have departed from Caticlan, perhaps. I mean, I doubt it. Actually, it might have just departed from Caticlan.
2137 contact McCann Center on 127.5. Good day. Call Red 716 has the Airbus A320 in sight. Airfield 2137.
So the VNAV profile's coming in now. What's going on with my throttles here? Just put you back to climb. Don't know why it went off the climb mode. We're coming below the transition, so we're approaching. Got company message as well. We'll just double check what we've got.
Cebu 905 contact. Calibo approach on 120.
Stay on the card company tablet. Okay.
120.4 Cebu 905. Goodbye.
So we're approaching the point on our approach that you can actually get a good view of Boracay, which is where the majority of the passengers on this flight will be going to for their holidays. And why? There we go. Perfect. Manila Center. Wow. It does this all the time for some reason. It does this all the time. I can see Boracay there now. The main beach on this side. Which we stayed actually very far up this beach. You can see the planes going in as well.
feet.
10,000 feet. Let's get our landing lights on.
905 Manila Center QNH 29.85 radar contact. Continue to pump heat. Cebu 905 contact. Calibo approach on 1.
And we're going handing off to Calibo again.
120.4 Cebu 905. Goodbye.
What I'm going to do as well, so that we can get, oops, not direct, we want to go to performance page, descent EFOB, below minimum, it's fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to activate the approach mode so that will get our speeds down as well.
Cabin will be seated for landing. Thank you.
And there's Boracay now, just coming off our wing from the passenger's point of view. Again, this is why I say you can see the island before you get there. We're on a good profile for landing as well. We'll be hand flying as well below 2,000 feet. And one of the interesting parts about this approach is that you get winds coming off from the sea here. You also get winds rolling off the mountains over there. So it does make for quite a bumpy approach almost all the time, which is what we had on the way down. Now my wife is a bit of a scared flyer, so I never warned her about it. I knew it was going to happen. It's the first time flying into Caticlan, but I knew it was going to happen, as it's something that I've experienced multiple times while here on the sim. And it's nice to see that it actually happened in real life too. So we're 30 minutes into our flight and we're almost down on the ground. Let's get the speed brakes out so we can start configuring our flaps for landing as we approach Popey. Let's call on GSX to prepare our parking gate as well. We'll do gate 1 today using Cebu Pacific. Caticlan Airport is just there, so we'll be making one final turn as well. Okay, got the speed nice and low. Got loads of messages coming up. Enter destination data. Well, we can't really do that because there's no meta. Once I engage flaps 1, it will slow the aircraft down quite significantly, but we'll maintain the speed as we are right now, which I'm quite happy with. We're approaching our final turn. Flaps are coming down to 1. Should help to decrease our speed as well.
Calibo approach Cebu 905 is passing 4,300 feet, descending 3,800 feet.
Cebu 905 Calibo approach QNH to 9.84 radar contact. Continue. Cebu 905, you are 13 miles southwest of Romeo Papa Victor Echo. Contact tower on 125.7 when inbound on the approach.
Tower on 125.7 Cebu 905.
Flaps 2 is coming out now. And runway's in sight.
Tower Cebu 905, 12 miles southwest inbound, RNAV runway 6 approach.
Cebu 905 tower. QNH
Medium brakes are coming on. Gears coming down.
Cleared RNAV runway 6 approach.
Cleared RNAV runway 6 approach Cebu 905.
905
bring the speed brakes out. Arm the spoilers. Flaps free. And flaps full.
2,500.
Autopilot's coming off. And flying down. I'm going to use the primary display here for help on getting the correct altitude for now, and then we'll use the PAPIs as we get closer visually. We'll let the auto throttle control the speed. And ECAM memo, no blue. Lights on, spoilers armed, flaps full. Go around altitude is set.
05 when 059 at 8. Clear to land runway 6.
Clear to land runway 6 Cebu 905.
Coming in a bit high again. But profile's good. There's a bit of a wind that just pushed us slightly. And you'll get that. Yeah, especially if you can see the... There we go, there's a bit of a wind that just pushed us a little bit. You can see our radio altitude as well is constantly shifting. We just shifted at 500 feet. The wind's slightly coming off to the left now. Just small inputs. There you go. Once you get over that little ridge there, it tends to get a bit easier. And we're quite stable on our approach now.
Minimum.
Continue. Stable on the approach. There is a few gusts here and there, but nothing too crazy.
$500.
Coming in a little higher than I want to be at the moment and slightly to the left, so just correct slightly. Those trees are really high just to the right.
50, 40, 30, 20.
Idle. Nice landing. Little bounce. Full reverse. Reverse green. Decel. 80 knots. Reverses are coming out. Manual braking now, and we'll just nicely bring ourselves off just here. There we go. Look at that. Nice landing that was. Very, very nice landing. Welcome to Caticlan. Flaps are coming up now. The APU is coming on as well. Speed brakes coming in. And we can turn off our transponder as well. And we already set up
The
for
cabin
gate
crew
1.
will shortly be leaving their seats to perform safety-related
125.7 Cebu
However,
905.
we ask that you
Goodbye.
remain seated until the fasten seatbelt sign has been switched off.
There's an ATR parked here. I don't know if it's supposed to be an Air Swift, because Air Swift do have flights from here to El Nido.
Please make sure you take all your personal belongings, checking in the seat pocket, underneath the seat, and in the overhead lockers. Do take care opening the overhead lockers as items may have moved during flight. Smoking is not permitted until you reach a designated smoking area. On behalf of the captain and the crew, it has been our pleasure looking after you today. Our ground crew will help you complete your journey.
You can see our ground marshaller now at gate 1. I'll do a nice deep turn because they're quite small parking bays. Oops, still a little bit. Come on, let's move a little bit. And boom, a little bit early. Yeah, come on. We'll move a tiny little bit. And we'll call it there. There, we just overshot exactly what we landed on. Anyway, there we go. Let's shut down engines 1 and 2. And we'll request for deboarding now. We can literally do it on here, can't we?
Cabin crew disarm doors.
And then I'll get the beacon off. And the seatbelt sign can now come off as well. Let's get the door open. And I thank you for flying with me today, and welcome to Caticlan. As I said, I was going to talk a little bit about how the Caticlan operations here are very interesting. First of all, this is an arrivals building, as it says here. It says Boracay Airport. And there is a small arrivals area. This is actually a lot nicer than it is in real life. In real life, it's not paved. It's not paved at all. And there's the main road there. There's loads of offices here. I say offices, they're more like stalls for the hotel transfers, which is what we did. Way in the distance, about 1 kilometer away, is the original terminal, and that's the departure terminal, and you get some fantastic views of the planes landing on 06, which I got some amazing photos just on my phone. And also this is where they take buses and they bring them onto the runway, drive them up the runway 1 kilometer, and they deposit you here for boarding. This area here is not really a construction site at this moment in time, but I'm pretty sure it would make a whole lot of sense if they plan in the future to use it as a terminal for both departures and arrivals. It makes a whole lot of sense, to be honest. But yeah, anyway, that was our flight to Boracay, or to Caticlan Airport. Now the passengers are going to walk off the aircraft and walk over to the arrivals building. And that's the aircraft with the Let's Fly Everyone livery, which I did see a few of them. And I'll use one of those pictures that I took as a thumbnail for this video. Anyway, thank you for joining me again, and I'll hope to see you on another one, hopefully once again in the Philippines. And bye-bye.